How does walking out in forgiveness look like in your life?
Yeah, forgiveness is hard. I'm going to be very honest. I think it's one of those words that like we use so often that we really do forget the weight and the magnitude of it. But I can say, well, I'm going to forgive this person. But then what's standing between me and forgiving them is the weight of what they've done to me or how I feel or the pain. And oftentimes to cross that bridge, to get to forgiveness, I'm so weighed down by those things. So I think forgiveness to me has become one of those things that I cannot do without God. Like I had a personal experience to where somebody hurt me repeatedly again and again and betrayed me and lied and like time and time again. Because, you know, if you see somebody like once and they do something and you get upset, you're never going to see them again, so you just let it go.
Right.
What about family members? What about close friends? What about coworkers? People that genuinely hurt you, how do you walk that out? And I felt like I was just I wasn't letting things go. I was kind of piling them up in the side. And when the Lord like pointed those things out to me, now going through the process of, okay, all of these things are here. How do I break that down? And I think God had to show me the importance of forgiveness is freedom for you. Like I have called you to be free. And when you take on the hurt and the pain and the things that people have done to you and you stack that on your shoulder, you are hindering yourself from the freedom that I have for you. So then going through the process of letting those things go is one by one. Because sometimes I'm like, okay, I've let them go. And then something else happens or I see them in the store and I'm like, them again. And like going through those things, I think the Lord pointed out to me the ways that I was holding on to, the ways that even like if I refused to like think about them, I didn't want to even think about it. I didn't want to think about what happened. I wanted to just be resistant. When God pointed out to me the ways I wasn't forgiving them, then starting the process of forgiving is saying, okay, this is how I feel. I'm going to let them go so that I can be free. So then once you let them go, you be free. For me, the hardest step was after that.
Okay. What do you mean by that?
I feel like I'd forgiven them. I said I forgave them. I came in front of the church and told everybody I forgive them. Like, you know, I'm like, okay, I'm done.
Right.
But then I see them and I almost get triggered by what happened. I almost get triggered, but maybe
Had
they
you
say,
really forgiven?
Yeah. Had I really forgiven? I think the devil would lie to me like, oh, you probably still haven't let it go. And I had to almost be persistent and resistant in my forgiveness of them. That seeing them and saying that, okay, I have let these things go. Because I think about when I do something to God, God lets it go and literally forgets it. Meanwhile, I'm like, in 1995, they did this.
Let me pull my list
Let me
out.
tell you what you did. So I'm struggling with all those things. So in reality, in the practical, like let's say those family affairs, like you have Thanksgiving and Christmas and you have that family member that every time they're asking you, where's your this? Why are you not this? And you may have unforgiveness toward them. So then your instinct is to not go to the family parties and to not do all those things. Well, God says, let go of those. And when you see them afresh. So my prayer actually, I said, God, help me create a clean slate with them. And I have never experienced this before, but it was almost like God wiped away the memories of what they did, like wiped away the weight, because I let it go. But when I see them, they would come afresh. It's almost like if somebody, you know, you have a wound, you have a cut and it heals, but if you keep stabbing it, you'll prevent it from truly healing. I had to ask God, heal the hole, give me a whole new arm because I can't hold on to I can't keep holding on to this pain. So it's almost to walk into it fully, saying, God, completely renew my mind towards them, renew my heart, renew my intentions, so that when I would see them, I would have true happiness. I would have true and pure thoughts toward them. Don't get me wrong. I can always sit there, and if I try hard enough, I can pull those things out, but that's not where I'm trying to be.
Right.
In the walk of stepping in true forgiveness, I want to be free. I want to be liberated. So I think a lot of people can relate to that. Like, okay, God, I want to be free in forgiveness. What does that look like? You know,
right?
This is how to practically step into it.
Well, I think too with forgiveness is if you aren't easily someone who can forgive, it stems the root of bitterness, and that bitterness grows and grows. And sometimes I know for me personally, I didn't even know I was bitter towards this situation, this person, this place, until I see them again. And then it was like, you've never asked for forgiveness, and
Yeah.
you did this and this and this. And it's that root just gets deeper and deeper.
Yeah.
Have you ever experienced having that bitterness in your life?
Oh, for sure.
And realizing that you've got, not only were you maybe hurt because of something that they did and you've chosen to forgive them, but in the process, you too have become, you've been sinning
Yeah.
because you've been having these bitter thoughts, this bitterness grow. And
Yeah. I mean, have you ever been like in a friend group and somebody says somebody's name and like your whole mouth is bitter? Like you're like, oh, don't even, that's it. Like there are some people that I felt so good that I've forgiven and mind let it go. But in some circumstances, I probably held on to prolonged bitterness. And they say bitterness is like carrying a load and expecting the other person to get hurt, or hurting yourself and expecting the other person to feel the pain. So in that part, it's still the same thing I've noted for myself in letting go of all factors. I had someone that was very close to me that had hurt me and it had hurt my feelings, and just had persistently, I'd struggled with that. And for me to be completely free, I had to look at all of the things that I could see that was hindering me and ask God, renew my mind towards them, renew my thoughts towards them. And then so that when their name comes up, what I started doing is like, I love this person and I forgive them. That's what my pastor told me to do. So I'd be like, I love them and I forgive them. I love them and I forgive them. And I had to practically walk it out. Like I couldn't just pretend like it was going to go away. Sometimes it goes away magically, but I mean, there's some deep things. Another side note, and this could be a whole nother day, is forgiving someone who hasn't changed. Because it's easy to forgive somebody that has changed, but what about somebody who hasn't changed? They don't believe they've done anything wrong.
Or they don't even know that you're angry with them.
They don't even know.
They don't even know.
And God is like, forgive him. And I'm like, why? Like,
Right.
that part, practically forgiving because it is for your growth and for your good, regardless of the circumstance. There was someone I forgave and they never apologized. Like till today, I have forgiven them and they have no idea they're still living that life. So forgiveness, it takes multiple facets, but I know how much I have grown. Like the blessing that comes to me, the freedom that I can now walk in, knowing that I'm not holding on to baggage from 10, 12, 8 years ago,
Well, and we're called to forgive our brothers and sisters. And so you have stepped out in obedience and you are living that life of forgiveness. And, it's our hope that, if you have wronged a brother or sister, we're called to go to them and express that. But it's only God that can change hearts.
Yes.
So you may express your hurt to them and they may or may not receive that, but only you will know, what? I confronted my brother, my sister about the hurt, and now I'm going to forgive them, even if they haven't asked for it, because I want to walk in step with Christ. Exactly. And so I can't hold on to this because it's going to keep weighing me down. It's going to keep pulling me into the pit. And we're looking for how to have an abundant life, how to live like Christ. And man, doesn't Jesus have a lot of people that he could have harbored unforgiveness for?
Yeah.
I mean, so many people that were just berating him and following him and trying to set lies and tempt him. And he just continued to pour forgiveness. So thanks so much for sharing about your walk in forgiveness.
It's good.